So we have 2 points. Now there's 2 ways to do it. Which one are you guys favoring? Are you favoring the point slope? I'll do that one first then, okay? I'm going to split the screen. Okay, so the first way that you've seen is to use this equation, y minus y1 equals mx, I'll get excited there, equals m times x minus x1. Okay. For any, doesn't matter which method you're using, what's the first thing you always have to do? You need your slope. And then 2, you get your equation, right? Okay. So let's see, we have xy, m is equal to. Which one are you guys going to use first? Really, use 1 and 2 first? Okay. I would use 4 because I like positive numbers. Okay. So I would say 4 minus 2. And then what? You got it? Again, it doesn't matter as long as you're consistent. I just usually put the biggest one first, so that I get positives when I subtract. 4 minus 2 gives me 2. 4 minus 1 gives me, okay, sounds good. So I have my slope. Merry Christmas. Doing good so far. Now let's use our equation. Y minus, which point do you want to use up here on top? You want to use the 1, 2, or this 4, 4? Okay. Doesn't matter which one you use, but let's just pick one. You use 1 point only, so we'll use that one. Y minus y1, so we're using a 2, I understand, equals, for the m, we'll put in what? Okay. Then we have x minus, and what's going now? 1. Okay. Then what do you do? Clean it up, distribute it to both pieces. So you get 2/3 x minus 2/3 equals y minus 2. And I know a lot of us are more comfortable with fractions, with decimals than we are with fractions. But again, I encourage you, if it's not an exact decimal, to leave it in a fraction, because it's more accurate than rounding. And I personally like to be meticulous with this. There's no reason when you have that graphic calculator, because it does the work for you anyway. You want y alone usually, and that's the main form we usually go for. So let's add 2 to both sides. What are we getting? I don't know. Yes, so that's right. Plus 4/3. Yeah, you can hit math fraction on your calculator to change it back to a fraction if you're using the scientific or the graphing calculator. Okay, so we have that. That's version 1 that a lot of you guys are really favoring, and you know what? If you are, then stick with it. Use the one you like. Just remember, I give you no formulas on the test. So be practicing it without looking at the formula. Make sure that you're capable of that, okay? Now for the other one. Same idea holds. Still need the slope first, but we already have it, so we'll cheat. What's the slope? So normally you would have had to find that first, right? We're going to use y equals mx plus b. What you do is you say, okay, well, I'm going to pick 1 point. Let's use a point. You guys used 1, 2 on the left. I'm going to use the same point over here on the right, okay? So if I use 1, 2, that's an x and a y, right? How do I do it? Oh, plug in everything I have and just get what I don't have? Because when I'm using the method on the right, y equals mx plus b, the idea is that I'm trying to solve for m and I'm trying to solve for b. And once I have them, I step back to the problem, clean it up, just put them in there. The only thing to be careful of with this one on the right, even though it can be faster sometimes, is be careful that in your final answer, there's an x and a y showing. Don't leave the numbers in for x and y, okay? You want to always, just like here on the left where you have an x and a y showing up in the problem, you want to have that happening with your equation. You want to go back and do that. Okay, so for y, I'm going to put in a 2. See how I'm plugging it in? Equals. For m, what am I going to plug in? For x, what do I plug in? Okay, plus b. So what am I trying to do here? Solve for what? B. Okay, let's do it. 2 equals 2/3 plus B. To get B alone, what do I do? Minus 2/3 to solve for B, right? Okay. And B is equal to what? Okay. You have that, so you have solved for your B. Again, this is such a different method than the one before. Don't let it hurt your brain too much. You solved for B, and you started off with your M. Can you tell me this equation? Sure. Y equals mx plus B is what you're dealing with here, isn't it? That's what you're doing. And you have this stuff. What do you think? Y is equal to? Oh. So the idea is, if you're using this one, you just go back at the end and plug in your M and B. And that's the answer. That's how you get the equation. Again, you get the same answer with either one. It's whatever you prefer. If you're more meticulous, but you like to memorize more, do the one on the left. It might be easier for you. If you prefer to memorize less, but you're comfortable getting to the end and taking both of your pieces to the puzzle back to that original, then do the one on the right. It really depends on how your brain functions. Are you guys okay? Do you understand both methods? Are you comfortable between the two? Okay. And are we kind of leaning, is this what you guys want me to choose from now on in lecture? Nope. They will both always work. Yeah. And she said they seemed pretty strong. Everybody was really liking this one. So let's stick with that. I wanted to make sure I had properly introduced both, and I know she did too, but just because that helps me know where we're at and how you guys are feeling. So what we'll do is the stuff in blue on the left, that's what I'll motivate, since you guys as a group seem to be liking that better. You can do both. They're both easy. And for that first example, Jennifer pointed out number 3. Seriously, guys, I would have done the one on the right. If somebody hands you a y-intercept, don't waste 20 minutes. Really? I mean, if you don't see it, it's okay. You can always do the one on the left. But be comfortable with both, or at least now you've seen them. You know it's possible, Okay. Let's see something. Number 9? Still on the worksheet, so I'll visit now online for online students later. Okay, there are approximately 90 calories in a 4-ounce serving of cottage cheese. Okay? We have 90 calories. To 4-ounce serving. And I haven't read it before, so I'm going to be very careful. I don't want to make any assumptions yet. I'll just write down the basics, and we'll look at what it's asking us for. And approximately 135 calories in a 6-ounce serving. We got it, right? That's the information. Those are the 2 points, but they're in disguise, aren't they? Part A says something to us. Determine a linear function for the number of calories in a serving of cottage cheese in terms of the size of the serving. I haven't worked a lot with using that kind of wording with you guys, so it's okay that you didn't get it right away. So let me read it to you again so you can see what we're looking at. Calories in terms of size. Let me write that. You want a formula that gives you calories in terms of size. What this is it has functional notation hidden in it. You remember when you learned functional notation? What do you recall? When you learned this, somebody read that statement to me. F of x, right? That's how functional notation reads. This function of this x. of this input. Show me the of in this statement. It's right there, isn't it? Calories as a function of size. Do you see which one they want you to use as x? Which one, look at the pattern on the screen, which one do they want you to use as the input based on the way they worded it? Size. They want size to be your x, don't they? Do you see that pattern? So in words, people can sometimes give you functional notation in words, and that's the way it relates. Just like we learned how to read it. F of x, calories of size. Also, if you looked at it and you were having trouble with the of will always be your friend. That's going to always work for you. But if you notice it says gives calories, it's trying to tell you secretly, hey, gives calories, that's the output. That's the y, because it's what you're getting out of it, right? So either way you looked at it would have been okay. But what I'm going to do then is I'm going to say, okay, well, that means I'm going to use size, and I always like x and y. That's just my favorite. That's my thing. So I'm going to make size in x's and calories as my y. You can use s and c if you want to, but I'm going to go back and use x and y. So let's take these 2 points that we have up here and write them as x comma y. How about the first one? Which one's the x and which one's the y? Size is x. Calories are. Did they give us that backwards to mess with our brains? Can they do that? Sure, who cares? The only important thing that told us which one was going to be x and which one was going to be y, let me show it to you again, of size. Calories of size, that's when it defines to you as a reader, size is x. I don't care when they told it to you in the word problem. If you get a sign, you better put an x beside it. That's what it is. So up there, 4 is going to be an x. What else is going to be an x? 6, okay. So let's see. When I'm writing my ordered pairs, x comma y, let's see, 4 comma what? 90. Okay, and what's the other point? You got it. Just be careful. Make sure you keep them together. The 90 and the 4 do go together, but the order of them is significant. You guys see how it makes such a big difference? And this is such a fun problem. I'll give you one of these on the test, just for kicks. Because I hope you're following me very closely and taking it seriously. And I can make up more for you if you want to do more practice on review. We'll work on some more. But the key word is of. I just want people to space out during this part, because that's all there was the problem. That was the whole word problem. There was nothing else. It wasn't one of those hard word problems you have to draw pictures. It was just figure out x and y, done. Now it's an easy problem again. Now it's just like number 4, where you have 2 points. I'm writing for you again. Given 2 points, this and this. And I guarantee you guys can finish it now, can't you? Yeah. Find the slope. Use y minus y1 if that's the one you use. Or the y equals mx, whichever one you use. Tell me what you get for your equation. Have you guys already figured it out? You almost got it right, but there's a small mistake in your math. You should have had a negative 90 plus a 90 that gave you a 0. You should end up with 45 over 2x, but it would have been plus 0 if you did all the work in the middle.